in the dirt. He's so happy with the Lost man in the rain. There's a little room, but as in a line can do it all on its own. No need to worry, it's just how it is. So don't try to interfere. Let's all try to be alone, but don't worry so much about the measurements and weight. Because we know the things that push and pull at us or just before us, like we always are still pointers and feelers lost. She's the way the main one seems so different, but normal never answer, but it doesn't mean right. But I know everyone's different. Other than its worm, need some help from me and you. This new cotton rain Lotion, mess and rain. It was sweet, no. Girlfriend said cushion. Pull it us or just leave for us. We can let them still. Turns out feelers moms. Cashes the way they go and working so different. But normal, never concerned. But it doesn't mean right. But I know everyone's so different. Let's all try to work together. Learn so much about love and mess and weight. Because we know girlfriend said cushion. Pull it us or just leave for us. We can let them still. Turns out feelers moms. Cashes the way they go and working so different. But normal, never concerned. But it doesn't mean right. But I know everyone's so different.
Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the virtual desktop experience. As always, I am James, HCMJ, Descending McShroud. We'll forgo the introductions since everyone made fun of me last week. That's Kevin,
I am Tech.
There's Tech, Mark's down there, whoever the fuck these people are, you should know, who cares? No, I'm just kidding, of course. I am James, and those were their actual names. But we're so happy and excited that you're joining us tonight, as we have a very, very special guest in the virtual desktop. Coming up in a little bit, we will be chatting with emamouse, who I think there are a lot of fans of in the chat, and we're really excited to see everyone just popping off. We are as excited as you are, believe me.
Hell yeah.
So why don't we just go around the table? How's everyone been? How was your week? How y'all faring?
You know.
Wow.
Well, James, I am fan-fucking-tastic today.
That sounds great, Kevin. I'm
Hell
really glad
yeah.
that you're in a good and entertaining mood. Mark, as always, as you can see here, is always at the edge of existence, phasing in and out as it goes. My light is really blowing me out here. Let me just take this down a notch. Let's see if that's any better. We'll just adjust. There we go. So yes, for fans of the Macintosh operating system, which I know there are many, you will notice that we are here in Mac OS 8. And for anyone who endured being a Macintosh user in the 1990s, you will understand what a big deal it was when this finally came out. So Mac OS 8 was kind of this stopgap after the failed Copeland operating system that was named after Aaron Copland, that was in development for years and years and years. It was promoted in the film Independence Day, ID4. That is the operating system that they are seen using with this platinum interface before it existed. So
didn't they hack the spaceship with that interface?
They did. Yes, they indeed they hacked the alien spaceship using the unreleased macOS Copeland. But this is what we ended up getting, which was macOS 8, which was sort of the beginning of the end for the macOS as it was before. Of course, they bought Next, and then macOS 10 came out. But macOS 8, it had a lot of features that were never seen before. Certainly not in Windows, of course, but not broadly. And operating systems like it had like voice print recognition and multiple users. So it's like stuff that we take for granted, like different desktop setups and permissions for separate users on one machine. It was like a huge deal that was very difficult to set up on any other systems, and macOS 8 made it easy. And as far as the UI was concerned, we lost that flat white that you saw on the Kiss Me Nerdy Girl episode, that macOS 7.6, and this was the birth of this beautiful platinum interface that we have here with this nice bubbly Apple logo that might bring some of us back to simpler times.
I heard Steve Jobs took a can of spray paint and he kind of just went over all the windows, called that a day.
That is exactly what he did. Oh, and it was also the first time where the macOS supported desktop pictures, and this beautiful Cubist smiley face was one of the first ones here.
Do you think the Cubist smiley face is supposed to be potentially two people? One in front of the other?
I always thought it was just one.
It represents the duality of mankind.
It looks like it. I always thought it was two people, and the one on the right is a profile, and passing the other one, and the one on the left is behind the one on the right, and they're passing each other.
Well, then
they're both wearing a.
But that wouldn't be cubism, because it's like you're seeing it from two angles at the same time. Is the idea?
That's correct.
So.
But what I'm just saying is the implication. Also, your interpretation of cubism is a little limited.
Oh my god.
Well, we'll leave that up to the chat to decide. I'm not sure exactly. So, OS 8, and I'm sorry, I won't go on and on and on too much longer, but I will go on and on just a little bit longer. OS 8 was the first major OS push for the Macintosh that included a lot of internet, a robust internet and connectivity features, including this Browse the New World and the Neo Gaia Info Center, which were really great. And this was around the time of the release of Netscape 3.0, which might have been the first free one, or maybe they were still charging for it at that point, I'm not sure. But as far as the OS was concerned, OS 8 has this weird feature that's vanished after OS 10, and you didn't really see it in a lot of other OSs, and I think it's really kind of iconic to the macOS 8 interface, which was this button here, which was the window shutter. And so here you see Netscape Virtual Desktop Experience Hobbit mode. In this,
here we go.
in this gray bar. But this gray bar is actually an application that's minimized right now.
Wonder what's in there.
Yeah, so if I come over here, I can actually, we can activate, here, let me turn off that, and then we can select that, and we coming over here, if we click on the window shutter, we get a web browser. So that's kind of a cool, little
I definitely
button.
was not expecting to see Peter Jackson.
So you could just sort of open and close your windows like that, and then have a bunch of weird lines
Like
all over your
bars
screen.
everywhere?
Yeah, a bunch of bars, and so yeah, that was something that didn't stick around forever, but was definitely a thing for a while.
So right now, all the bars are open, kind of like Florida.
Damn.
Oh my god. Yeah, Tech.
I was struggling really hard to come up with a funny COVID bar joke, but Tech just is quick on the draw today.
I mean, he's that's why he's the one. You know, he is the one. So I'm also going to come up here to the old Apple menu, and we're gonna pull down the graphing calculator. So this was another new application that they included in OS 8. And this is great too because I can block Mark and Tech when they get on my
Now
server.
it's the James and Kev show.
Yeah. Oh, it's about time. Finally, a show worth watching. Am I right?
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I can just go ahead and launch the. So yeah, this was the graphing calculator, which was really cool because it had all of these cool 3D functions that you could do. And you could just run a demo that showed you all these cool looking curves. And if we get donations today, this is where they'll pop up. So I'll try to keep this active at all times.
Can you unlock Sephiroth?
Oh, I can not, but I can. I need to unlock some more coffee real quick. I'm so sorry. I just didn't have time before the stream because I'm running the Matrix here. So I'm just going to tap out real quick, but I'll be right back. I promise.
All right, we're just
do
gonna
without
stare.
him?
Yeah, we're just gonna stare at each other for a little
I'm just
bit.
gonna go stand back here again.
That's fine. Well, I guess we'll just.
So,
have a
Tech, I
sip
wanted
of-
to ask you a little bit about Huel, actually, and I didn't have time before the stream, so now seems like a good time. What kind of Huel do you buy? Where do you get it from? Oh, you got it right there. Gamer Fuel.
It's not gonna register. There we go.
Oh, we got a donation.
Thank you. Thank
Gamer
you.
Fuel.
Betty.
Hey,
Sapolsky.
thank you, Betty Sapolsky.
Thank you so much.
Oh
Wow.
my
Oh,
God.
we can't read
I
the
can't
entire
read it. Where
message.
the
That's
is my?
that's a former coworker
Oh.
of mine.
Nice.
They know
It's
about your
What did
fuel
they say?
Your fuel addiction.
I think they mentioned something about one of the products we used to sell, but the name they used, the name of a client. I was like, wait, hold on a second. Anyway, Huel rocks. You can't see it because of the thing, but yeah, Gamer Huel.
What about Soylent? What about Soylent? You're not a Soylent guy?
I'm not a Soylent guy. I'm a Huel guy.
I already knew that because I posted an image of Huel. in
Yeah.
place of-
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, if anyone saw our Twitter post, we can reveal our spiritual elemental food forms on this Tech is Huel.
That's right.
Kevin, what are you?
I think I'm Taki.
You think you're Taki.
Yeah, but I could also be Tots too, because I eat a lot of Tots.
That's what somebody told me today. They were like, it's really a toss-up for tater tots and Takis.
Yeah, I mean you're the same way. You also live in both the Tot and the Taki realms, so.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. You had actual questions about Huel.
I thought it was
Similarly-
off the Takis because one night I threw up Takis like
That sounds
About-
painful.
about a month ago, and it wasn't even like from drinking or anything. I just like ripped the bong incredibly hard and just like I ran to the bathroom and threw up Takis, and it was disgusting.
Oh, I had a
So I
similar.
didn't buy them for like a month,
Oh,
and
is
then
that Fuego flavor?
yeah, and then I went right back yesterday. Went right back to the corner store, and I got a bag of Takis.
Just
So I'm
right back on
the-
that trolley.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was 18, I had a similar experience with tequila, and that was
Tequila.
the end of me and tequila for a long time. But
Yeah.
you know, I was 18, so whatever. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but-
once
But Takis, though, I mean,
Yeah.
Takis
Or did you throw up
tastes like
Takis with
barf going
tequila?
in, anyways. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you had your first Taki, James, in New York before Electronicon, right?
Yeah, and I was
Mark and I bought a bag, and we were like, "It's time."
do you like any food that we force you to eat?
Look,
like
look,
Coco?
look. I know I was throwing shade at Coco earlier.
No,
It-
he only likes egg sandwiches.
I do love
Real
my
man of
eggs.
culture.
It's true. And Coco Ichibanya, it's not that bad. It's totally fine. Like seriously, I mean, I had the fish curry every time. You know, the only tragedy for me was just that I was in Japan and surrounded by, you know, like some of the most
Real
incredible
food.
food on earth. Yeah, and so I
Yeah.
just felt a little kind of guilty inside to be.
If we're gonna get sponsored, you're gonna need to have a better pitch than that.
That's,
that's
fine. Hey,
Like at this point, to get sponsored by Coco Ichibanya.
You should get sponsored by Huel.
and them, sure.
I'm a Soylent guy, so
Okay, well,
You like Silent? Okay.
See, this
wondering.
is sort of like why I'm the Raphael of the group and you're the Leonardo. And I'm gonna whatever. Just finish the metaphor.
I think I'm more like the Michelangelo, aren't I? I mean,
No, you're the leader. You're Leonardo.
you don't think? Oh no, Kevin. Yeah, just as I was doing this, I'm like, no, that's Kevin. Kevin is definitely.
Yeah, Kevin is the Michelangelo. Mark is the Donatello because he's the brains, and then
'Cause
I'm Raphael
I'm a Virgo.
because I'm the coolest.
What
Does
does being a
Donatello-
Virgo have to do with
No,
anything?
but I get a Virgo energy off of him. Yeah, he's probably at least Virgo rising or something. I don't know.
Oh,
Sure,
wow.
definitely.
God.
I don't remember
I'm gonna
any
Google
of
that
her
right now.
personalities.
Source needed on that one.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. This
stars.
is pretty dubious content for us to be dipping into.
So
Astrology and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
yeah,
Sure.
one other note about macOS 8 real quick, just to get us back on track on the virtual desktop experience. The installer that everyone saw during the pre-show bumper, that was also a very big deal because I'm pretty sure as recently as I think still like Windows 10, it's all it's like you have to use an abacus and it's all command line to like install the software to upgrade your system. It's very difficult. I'm kidding, of course. But the OS 8 installer was one of the first real streamlined, easy, like you put in a disk and you click a button and then it installs the OS. So props to Apple for making that easy for everybody.
I didn't get to see the installer screen because I was too busy with the Spotify thing.
Well, I guess we'll just have to watch the replay.
Just gone forever.
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh,
Oh,
Hey!
thank you. Oh,
Bfant.
Thank you very,
B.
very
Oh
much.
wow, that's a very
Wow,
generous
that's- oh my
donation
gosh.
too.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
man.
Thank you so
that's
so
crazy.
much. And look how big
I love
that GIF is. Isn't that great?
I love it.
So the only problem is I think that I'll just have to, if I hear the sound, then I'll have to quickly use the window shading to get this down here. So,
Okay.
I found a link to Astrology and Ninja Turtles.
Oh my god.
And it's not limited to just the 4 turtles. It's like all the characters.
Oh my god.
Oh, good.
It-
So we can
because
find
there's
out
more
what
than-
April was.
Well,
And
let's
Splinter.
let's take a look here.
So what are your guys' actual star signs? What are your zodiac signs? Oh my god.
I'm Aries on the cusp, March 23rd. So I'm Aries with some other sign. I don't know.
I'm not an expert on this at all, and I know that you don't like talking about it.
No, I know. Look. I'm like a Carl Saganist, right? So I think it's all a bunch of hooey, but it's really fun and entertaining. Like there was someone that I work with, and they were like, "When were you born? At what time? Blah blah blah." And then they pulled up this big chart, and it's like, that's like me. That's not really like me. And it's fine, you know. It's
You're like,
fine.
I'm lost on a pale blue dot, man.
Yeah.
We're sitting in distance.
But, you know, Carl
Oh,
Sagan
but-
just liked to point out that, you know, if you wanted to say that distant stars had influenced you at birth at all, you know, his point was that the doctor who delivered you would have more of a gravitational influence on you than, say, any distant star in the galaxy. And I tend to...
On the contrary, Weird Al says, I believe he said, "Now you may find it inconceivable, or at the very least a bit unlikely, that the relative position of the planets and the stars may have a special deep significance or meaning that exclusively applies to only you. But let me give you my assurance that these forecasts and predictions are all based on solid scientific documented evidence, so you'd have to be some kind of moron not to realize that every single one of them is absolutely true."
That's amazing.
That's your horoscope for today.
What does Peter Jackson say about them?
He said no. He said no. We got Keith in the
They're-
chat.
They're all based on each of the
We got a
dwarves.
star-studded chat today. We got Nagy Jemmy, we got Keith Rankin, we got FM Skeezy,
Oh
Oh
wow.
wow, I didn't even notice.
George is lurking in there somewhere. Got all kinds of celebs.
So Aries, Raphael. So that's me, I guess. So this kind
Sure.
of goes against what we were talking about.
That's incorrect.
This
Not
doesn't-
Splinter.
No
Where you got pop-up
thanks.
ads.
Oh,
I don't know.
man.
I didn't even really look on this site at all.
No, it's
So,
fine. We're
I hope
going.
it's not giving you a virus
Oh,
or something.
the neutrinos, one of the most important characters.
I
Well, I guess-
liked turtles when I was a little kid, but I do not know what that's about.
I don't even know that character.
Casey Jones, aka the guy from Splatterhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, Krang! It's the guy from
Who's-
Twitter.
We
Yeah.
got a
that's
Leo
me.
in here. That's your Crane.
Yeah.
Was Krang born?
Well, so I think it's taking the personalities from the show and then saying who they're the most like. So I'm like Raphael, or Raphael is like an Aries, and Krang is like a Leo.
So
I think.
I'm most like Splinter. Hey, I was right about the Donatello thing, right?
Were you? Did you say
Nice.
Virgo?
No, I said that.
Well, yeah, Mark said, yeah, Virgo. He said Virgo vibes. I said Mark was the Donatello.
Oh, so we were both right.
Yeah.
As a Leo, I literally just don't care about any other horoscope but my own.
Yeah, this just I'm not
Which one
feeling
are
this content.
Which one are
here.
you, Tech? We didn't
This
get
is
to.
this is really sad.
Everybody fill out the form that puts your date and time of birth and location, and then we can come back to this.
Yes, that's a great, solid idea. But like I said, it's really entertaining. It's fun. I don't want to be that guy. I'm not that guy. It's all good. Whatever gets you fun, then have your times. And that's.
I'm okay with being that guy.
I know, and that's why it's important for us to coexist. For us to be mentioned within the same breadth.
Well, Krang obviously has the biggest brain out of the whole group, so I'll take that.
I'll take that.
Only a brain.
So, for those waiting for emamouse, I think we're going to jump into the interview in about 9 minutes. So go pop your popcorn, get your snacks.
Let's talk about her a little bit before we
I think we should.
before we launch in. Yeah. For those of you not familiar, emamouse is a probably the most creative person I've ever met, and I'm not just saying that. She's like this incredible multimedia artist that draws manga. She makes music. She's an awesome DJ, and she's somewhat of an enigma. There's no photos online of her real face. She wears this homemade felt mask that she's created herself that was based off of her original Twitter avatar. And we were lucky enough to play with her on the Neo Gaia Phantasy tour. It was the first one we met her and saw her art on the wall of a club that we played at in Okazaki, and I was like, oh my god, there's an emamouse original, and that kind of started the obsession for everyone else. So
she's super cool, super chill. If you go to a show at Force Limit whenever they start again, you'll probably run into her, though you might not recognize her because she won't have her mask on. But yeah, when I first met her, it was at that Force Limit show on the first Neo Gaia tour. She was like, hey. I was like, oh, hey. She's like, I'm emamouse. I was like, oh, awesome, cool, it's you.
Yeah.
Sweet. Super talented. Just one of these, it's the kind of person that's just always like their brain is exploding with creative energy. And it's like, where does it even all come from? Just as a visual artist and as a musician, and also something very, very unique and just completely unlike anything else that's really out there. I think that her brand is very much her own. And so, yeah, it was a big honor and privilege to have him on the show. So,
she's a great dancer too.
yes, as you can see.
Yeah, there you go, right there.
Yeah, that's the famous move.
So cool.
So without further ado,
Just leave that dance up for a sec.
Yeah, we can leave this up. So is everyone back? Everyone has their coffee. Everyone has their snacks. Everyone's ready to go. Let me just pause the Spotify real quick. And folks, we're just gonna jump right into this. All right, so joining us in the virtual desktop experience today, we have an extremely special guest, emamouse, joining us all the way from Tokyo, Japan. Thank you so much for joining us today. And of course, translating as always, we have the wonderful Josh Stefane of Muzan Editions, also the artist Endurance, really cool guy, friend of the show, Neo Gaia legend in his own right. Thank you so much for joining us today and assisting with the translation.
My pleasure.
So let's just jump right into it, because emamouse, you have a very big following on the internet, and I think that you have over the years sort of gained a large Western audience that's really into your music and your manga and your art and your photography. So I think this is a really cool opportunity to get to ask these questions and sort of show this to a Western audience. So there was a great Bandcamp Daily interview that you had where you really went in depth about a lot of your music and your inspiration. And in that interview, they talked a lot about Dempa song. And I was wondering if you feel that your music is strictly within the confines of this Dempa genre, or if you feel that it's sort of its own thing and that's just something that's been applied to it like an outside label.
じゃあちょっと訳していきます。エマさんはもう結構、日本、国内でも、最近はもう海外でも結構人気を、結構集まってきたみたいなんですけど、最近の、バンドキャンプの記事の中でかなり詳しくその音楽についていろいろと、話したんですけど、そのなんか電波っていうジャンルっていう言葉も出たんですけど、あなたの音楽はその電波っていうジャンルのもう完全にその中になんかハマってるのか、それともそのジャンル自体が自分の音楽をやっぱり完全に説明できてない、しきれてないところもあるのか、そのジャンルとか自分の音楽の、関連性についてちょっと話していただけたら。
はい、正直言って全然電波ソングっぽくないなとも最近は思ってて、最近の私の曲には電波っていうタグはあまりつけてないんですけど、なんか3年前ぐらい、もうちょっと前かなぐらいまではなんか電波ソングっぽいのを作ろうって意識して作ってた時もあったので、今よりはもうちょっとそのジャンル、電波ソングのジャンルに近いものを作っていたと思うんですけど、もう最近のは全然違うかもしれないです。
So I find that the music that I've been making recently doesn't fit almost at all into the Dempa genre. And when I post new tracks, I rarely, if ever, tag them with the Dempa tag. So it's something that I used to do, but now it doesn't really fit what I'm doing anymore. I think 3 years ago, I had intentionally made tracks with the genre in mind and with the intention of making a Dempa track. But recently, my music really doesn't fit into that particular mold anymore.
I wanted to ask you, I know that a lot of your music is inspired by video games, and I was going to ask what some of your favorite game OSTs are.
エマさんの、音楽は結構そのゲームのサウンドトラックとかOST に、インスパイアされてるのは分かってるので、そのエマさんの一番好きな例えばゲームサウンドトラックとか OST は、いくつか、教えていただけたら嬉しいです。
はい、どれが一番かはちょっとわからないんですけど、一番じゃなくて好きなはい、そしたらドラゴンクエストシリーズのどちらかというと古めなもの、ファミコンとかスーパーファミコンぐらいの あたりのドラゴンクエストの曲とか、あとはPC エンジンっていうのがあって、
はい。
PC エンジンのゲームを結構やっていたので、その中のルームっていうゲームがありまして、
ほうほうほ
LOOM っていうスペルなんですけど、
はいはいはい。
そのゲームの音楽は、まあその音楽は普通にチャイコフスキーの曲とかを使ってるから、オリジナルではないんですけど、そのゲーム自体の。だけどそのゲームの曲とか、そのゲームは曲っていうよりもビジュアルがすごく好きなので、なんかその全体の雰囲気が好きで、あとはなんか天外魔境2っていうゲームとか。
天外魔境？
はい。なんかなんかありすぎてわかんないな。でとりあえずそのルームでも音楽だったらでもドラゴンクエストかな。
なるほど。
はい。
So it's pretty tough for me to choose just one or two soundtracks or that are my favorite because there's just so many, as I'm sure you can understand. I think probably the series that I enjoy the most is the Dragon Quest series. And especially the older games from like Nintendo and Super Nintendo era. They have stuck with me the longest and have really influenced the kind of music that I do. I also played PC Engine quite a bit when I was younger, and there was a game called Loom. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. And actually, the music from that is from Tchaikovsky, so they're not original tracks, but the way that it's employed in the game and how it works with the visuals, which are really incredible, really left a strong impression on me. And there's another game called Ten Gaimakyo 2.
I'm familiar.
Which I'm not sure what the English version is.
It's Far East of Eden.
That's another... Sorry?
The English, it's known in English as Far East of Eden.
Far East of Eden. Oh, okay, you're getting the thumbs up there. Yes. So yeah, that's another game that I really enjoy. But there's just so many that I could pretty much go on for the next hour just talking about that.
Perfect. We'll have to do a special 1 hour emamouse talks video game music only podcast.
もうサウンドトラックのみのお話は次回ぜひしたいですね。
I hear a lot of Koichi Sugiyama from the Dragon Quest series in your music. I feel your sense of chord progression, it's similar to his, very sort of classically centered.
杉山浩一の、影響はすごいあなたの音楽を聴いてるときにかなり感じます。彼のそのコードの展開とかそのクラシックの、のセンスが、あやまさんの音楽を聴いてるときに、結構感じます。
多分影響をたくさん受けていると思います。小さい時にたくさんやってたので、自分でもそうじゃないかと思います。
はい。I definitely have been influenced by him. Those games, you know, they made up so much of my youth, and I played them so much that even without thinking about it, they've had a strong impact on the kind of music that I like to make and like to listen to.
Well, speaking of video game music, what can you tell us about your album, Plant Spiral Biobombing, which seems to be inspired by video game soundtracks?
ゲームサウンドトラックのもの話をすればやっぱりエマさんの最近のアルバム、の話に、したいと思いますけど、そのプラントスパイラルバイオボミン、は、そのゲームサウンドトラックの影響を受けながら、オリジナルという感じなんですけど、それについてちょっと、お伺いしたいですね。
はい。PC エンジンで R タイプっていうゲームがありまして、
はい。
で、私はそれがすごい好きで、それはまずビジュアルがすごいかっこいいんですけど、で音楽もかっこよくて、で私は本当は R タイプの曲を作りたかったなと思っていて、だけどまあもうすでに発売 してるゲームだから、まあ私が曲を作ることはもちろんできないので、
はい、
そのプラントスパイラルバイオボミングは本当は R タイプのようなゲームを、想定して架空のゲームとしてそれに対する曲をつけるというふうに思って作りました。
なるほど。So the inspiration for this album was from a PC Engine game called R-Type, which I'm sure you know. And everything about that game, from the visuals to the music, is really amazing. And I really just wanted to kind of make R-Type songs, like almost make a soundtrack for the game. However, it's already made, and somebody's made a soundtrack for it. So it's not like I can just make a second soundtrack and do that. So I decided to make a soundtrack for an R-Type-like game. So kind of create in my mind another version of an R-Type game to make music for, and that's really how the album came about.
That's awesome. Shoot 'em up, like shmup, bullet hell games are probably my favorite genre of like pick up and play video games.
ケビンはもうかなりそういうなんかシューティングとかタイプのゲームがもう一番好きなんでかなりかなりピンときます。
いや私はシューティングはすごい下手なんですけどすぐ死ぬんですけどなんだろう、だからまあ兄がやっているのを主に見てたって感じなんですけど、なんか特別すごいシューティングが好きとかシューティングばっかりやっていたってことは全然ないんですけど、なんかRタイプはちょっとこうなんかすごいやたらとかっこよかったので、すごいこう真剣に見てました。主に見てました。自分はやるとすぐ死んじゃうので。
はいはい。It's interesting because I'm not a huge shoot 'em up fan myself because I'm actually really bad at playing shmups. And
I think everyone is.
I die so easily that actually a lot of my experience with the games was just watching my brother play them and play through them. And it wasn't as if I was attracted to shoot 'em up games in general. It was just really the R-Type game itself that the aesthetic of it that really made me come back to it as a viewing experience that really kind of inspired me and made me want to make art.
Yeah, that game in particular has a very unique aesthetic, and a lot of it's influenced by H.R. Geiger, who is known for the Alien series. It's got that cool.
独特な美感覚がありますね。なんかエイリアンシリーズの H.R. ガイガーの、芸術の影響を受けながら。
なんだっけ、そうその人と似てました。ギガーか。
そうギガ。そう。英語の発音と日本語の発音がちょっと違って、ギガです。
そうよくある。
Yeah, the pronunciation of Geiger in Japanese is Giger.
Oh, okay.
She was like, oh yeah, Giger.
Makes sense.
名前が一致しました。
はい。
Some people say it that way here too. Giger.
なるほどね。
Yeah.
He's Swiss, right?
I don't know.
Anyway.
I have a question about the mask. I just wanted to know how old the mask is, and if it's the same mask or if you've replaced it over time or yeah.
ぜひちょっと仮面のことについてちょっと聞きたいんですけど、
はい、
その仮面はずっとそのマスクはずっと前から使ってるものなのか、まあたびたび変えたりしてるものなのか、まあそもそも何がきっかけだったのかについてちょっと、ぜひ教えてください。
はい、これはこれ一つしかなくてずっとこれを使ってるんですけど、でこれは2015年ぐらいに多分作ったんですけど、まず私がやっていたツイッターのアイコンの顔がこんなようなアニメっぽい女の子の顔だったんですよ。でなんかライブをやるってなった時に、まあ、別に顔を出したくなかったので そのアイコンの顔をそのまま使いたいなと思って、で、その時にそのアイコンの顔に似せてこれを作ってみたんですね。そしたらなんかこう、あんまり自分はこう、器用じゃなかったので、これになっちゃったんですよ。もっと普通の、ちゃんと普通の頭をしてたんですけど、そのアイコンは。
はいはいはい。
どういうわけかこうなってしまったので、まあそのままこれでやってるんですけど、で、これはもう5年ぐらい同じのを使ってるので、まあ写真とかで見てもらうと多分わかるんですけど、結構なんかブツブツしてたり、ちょっと汚かったり、時々は洗ってるんですけど、やっぱちょっとこう汚い感じがあります。
はいはいはい。So the mask that I'm wearing now, I made in 2015, and it's the only one that I have and use. And it started actually because of a Twitter icon that I was using at that point, which was the face of like an animated girl with like a fish in her hair. And when I had the chance to play live, I didn't want to show my face and appear as me. Uh-oh.
No, we're good.
Yep. And so, yeah, this is the result of that. But the kind of unique look that it does have is less a result of me kind of choosing this particular, making, a bunch of particular aesthetic choices, and rather just me not being a very good sewer. And so that's kind of the result of that. And I've been using it for about 5 years, and sometimes you can see it in pictures, and I showed you with a close-up in the camera that it's a little bit rough, and I give it a wash every now and again, but it's, it's had a long life, and hopefully it'll stay with me for a little while longer, but that's the current situation with the mask.
A lot of people don't realize this unless they see emamouse in person, but the mask does have a mouth, a really, really tiny mouth between the eyes and down a little bit. You can almost see it in the video chat, but yeah, there is a tiny mouth.
口があるんですね、仮面には。
あります。
なるほど。Yeah, there's a mouth.
Very small.
鼻もあるんですよ。
There's also a nose.
点が2つ並んでいて、上が鼻で下が口です。
There's two little dots, and the top one is the nose, and the bottom one is the mouth.
So I wanted to take a second to talk about. I was first drawn into your art because of the character Donuts. So I was aware of you because I had seen you on the internet. And then on the first Neo Gaia Phantasy tour, the first show that we played was at what was that place?
Hikarino Lounge.
Yeah, Hikarino Lounge
in Okazaki.
And on the wall there was an emamouse original. And Kevin was the one that spotted it. He was like, "Look, emamouse!" It was like, "Oh my god!" And we were just like, like standing back from it, like some sort of sacred relic. And it was a picture of Donuts with his little hands, and he's always crying. And I always personally related to Donuts because he seems to always be in this emotional state. And in your manga, Mao is just sort of not abusive, but maybe sort of indifferent to his emotions. So I was just wondering what the origin of these two characters, Mao and Donuts, are, and how you sort of see them.
じゃあちょっと、ドーナツについてちょっと伺いしたいんですけど、
はい、
まずそのエマさんの音楽に惹かれたきっかけが多分ネットで何回か見たことがあったんですけど、そのネアガヤツアーで、岡山の光ナラウンジというところで、
川崎ですね。はい。
そう。多分エマさんのアート作品が壁にあって、でケビンが見つけて、エマさんだみたいな、エママウスの作品だって言ってて、そしてかなりもうまるでもう神社に行ったようになんか拝んでたみたい 感じだったんですけど、まあ、それがドーナツの写真だったドーナツの絵だったんですけど、
はい。
ドーナツはもうすごい、まあ、個人的にはすごい
はい
まあ、気が合う感じがしてて、もう彼は
はい
いつももう泣いててばっかりで、そしてもうマオはまあ、結構どっちかというとちょっと冷たくて無頓着な、まあ、性格の時もあるんですけど、
はい
まあ、その、2人のキャラクターについてちょっと、話していただけたら。
はい。なんかあんまり深く考えて決めたわけじゃないので、なんとなく書いてただけなんですけど、まあなんか、ドーナツは、まあ常にこう涙と鼻水とよだれがまあ出てるんですけど、まあなんかその鼻水とよだれっていうのは、そもそも私の友達が犬とかはちょっとこう普通の犬より可愛くなくて、この辺が汚れてたりする犬を見るとこうすごくときめいて、なんかここ拭いてあげたくなるっていうことを昔話していて、それすごいわかると思って、なんかドーナツは自分で描いててちょっと可愛いなって思って、こうなんかこの辺が汚いのを拭いてあげたくなるって自分で思いながら、なんか自分で汚くしてるけど自分で拭いてあげたいみたいなこう気持ちを持って、ちょっとこう愛らしいと思って書いてるんですけど、まあ彼はいつも泣いてるんですけど、あれはまあ悲しいだけじゃなくて、なんかこういろんな涙なんですよ。楽しいとか嬉しいとか
はいはいはい。
いつも感動してるか悲しんでるか、なんかまあそれはちょっと自分の中にもちょっとドーナツみたいな気持ちはある。もうちょっと私はあんな可愛らしい感じじゃないけど、なんかまあああいう一面もありつつ、でなんかこうなんだろうな、まあ、周りの優しい友達みたいに見えることもあり、ドーナツは、なんかこういいやつだなという顔は説明になってないけど、でこれはまあなんかこのマウのキャラクターはこの被ってる状態の顔を見てると、なんかいつもなんだろう、こんな表情をしているように見えるので、なんだろう、何を喋っててもこの顔をしているように見えて、ちょっとこうなんだろうな、うまく言えないんだけど、ふてぶてしいというか、この顔が喋ったらきっとこうだろうなとか考えて漫画を描いたりしています。
はい。はい、じゃあ、わかりました。Yeah, so the character of Donuts is, always crying or drooling or, is like kind of sniveling, like a little, runny nose, a little snotty. Yeah, beautiful. And the inspiration for it came, I remember a friend of mine once told me the reaction they had to dogs that were always like a little dirty, like stray dogs that seemed a little sad and pitiable with like mangy fur and like leaky eyes, and how when she saw those kinds of dogs, she always wanted to like wipe them off and clean them and give them love. So and great. That feeling was why I created the character of Donuts, kind of this object of empathy and affection, and also kind of a healing character.
That's really cute.
Yeah, the tears are not only tears of sadness, so I think it's important, like when you read the actual comics, there's also tears of happiness and being moved, and so whenever Donuts is extremely emotional and reacts accordingly to those emotions, and I've always felt a kind of kinship with the character myself, because I tend to be quite extreme in my emotional reactions as well. I'm not as cute as Donuts, but at least that's how I feel when I'm interacting with people. And yeah, I just have this feeling of donuts as like just a cool, good, good person you'd want to be with, like always sincere, no sarcasm or like two-facedness, and just really straightforward with how they feel. And the character of Mao, as you can see from the mask, the expression doesn't really change, and it's always this kind of expression, whatever Mao happens to be doing. So whether it's saying something cruel or saying something really benign, it's this it has this constant expression to whatever sort of meaning is being conveyed. And I like the juxtaposition between that and the heavily emotional side of Mao, or of Donuts, sorry.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I love one of my favorite manga that you've done is the Sales Mao, which is just so scary. Because poor Donuts, he's just trying to enjoy his evening, and then he's just haunted by this. I like how the Sales Mao sort of expresses this sort of darker side of the Mao character.
私の一番好きな漫画はもうやっぱりセールスマオなんですけど、もう本当にドーナツがかわいそうで、もうひたすらリラックスしたいのに、もうその魔法にまとわりついて疲れて、もう本当に大変で、すごいもうめちゃめちゃ好きなんですよ。
それは本当にドーナツには申し訳ないと思ってるんですけど。
I felt really bad for Donuts having to write that.
Well, it's everyone's worst nightmare that someone knocks on the door and it's someone that you don't want to see, and then they decide, I'm not only going to stay, but I'm going to sleep in your bed, and then take up all the room, and so you just have to curl up into one little corner, afraid.
いやでも本当にみんなのもう悪夢みたいな、もうシチュエーションですね。もう誰かが家に来て、もう住み着いて、もうすべての場所を取ったり、そして自分の場所が完全に、なくなるっていうところがもう本当に、もう悪夢みたいな、誰もが、多分夢の中で見たことのあるもう悪夢だと思います。
そうですね、本当に私もそんなことがあったらとても嫌だなと思いながら書きました。
Yeah, I thought that something like that happened to me, it would just be awful, and that was just thinking about that and writing it was a process in itself. But yeah, poor Donuts.
Poor Donuts.
Kind of building off of that, it seems like you have created this kind of surreal entire world with your music and your art. Do all of your albums kind of fit in with this world? Like, do you imagine Donuts and Mao like in all of the music you create, or are you kind of crafting separate stories with each album and release?
山さんが作ってる世界観はとてもシュールで、なかなかその現実から離れた独特な感じがしますけど、その音楽と芸術の中で、その音楽と漫画の中で全部それが同じ世界なのか、それとも別々の世界をここの時に、描いてるのか。例えば音楽を作ってる時にマオとドーナツのことを思いながらなんか作品を作ってるのかとか、そういう感じなんですかね。
音楽を作ってる時にはほとんどマウのことは、正直考えてないですけど、音楽と漫画の世界は多分ほとんど同じで、漫画で描いてる世界はもう自分が行きたいところを描いてるつもりで、音楽は自分が行きたいところでかかってる音楽っていうつもりで作ってるので、多分大体同じかなと思います。で、漫画の中は マウが歩いたりするけど、音楽を作ってる時には、そこをマウが歩いてるかどうかはあんまり考えないです。
So I think in a lot of the music that I make, in the sense of like having Mao and Donuts as like characters in the music, for example, that doesn't really that's not something I think about when I'm making music. What is similar is that when I make music or when I write when I draw comics, I'm drawing places and situations, and most of the time, that I'd like to go and I'd like to be in. So kind of creating these destinations for myself. And on the other hand, the music is the kind of soundtracks and the kind of BGMs and soundscapes that I'd like to hear in those places. So in that sense, it is the same world. That said, when I am doing music, I'm not exactly sort of embodying or expressing the characters of Mao in each song that comes through. I think the connection between music and manga is more of a personal one in that sense.
I can relate.
私ももう共感できます。
That said, on social media, I noticed you have kind of like a playful, mischievous kind of persona sometimes. And do you try to inject like humor into your music at all, or is it just like you're saying just now, like sort of more separate kind of entity?
SNS の方で、結構そのキャラクター、山さんのキャラクターが、結構やんちゃな、ユーモアに富んだ、キャラクターなんですけど、その音楽の中にもなんかユーモアとかそういうちょっとライトなところも、入れたりしますか？
作ってる最中というよりは後からなんかこの曲は多分こうふざけながらこのマウがふざけながら変な笛を演奏してるんじゃないかとか思うことはよくあり、マウがふざけて叩いてる太鼓のように聞こえるとか、マウがふざけて弾いてるギターのように聞こえるとか、そういうふうに思うことはあります。
はいはいはい。
なんかあんまりふざけてこうユーモアの曲を作ろうとはあんまり思ってないかもしれないです。
So when I'm doing music production, I don't think a lot of humor comes into it at that stage of the creative process. So I tend to make music quite seriously, or at least focus on it as music. But after I've made it, I often, when I'm listening to it, I often have kind of visions or daydreams of like Mao kind of playing a silly flute or like banging a drum alongside of it, or playing like a really cheesy guitar. But that's kind of all comes just as my reaction to the music, almost as if I was listening to someone else's music. But as far as the production goes, that it doesn't itself have a humorous element, I think.
Do you enjoy collaborating with other artists? And if so, I guess are there any artists that you would like to collaborate with, and that would be like dream collaborations?
そのコラボレーションについて他のアーティストさんとコラボするのが、好きなのか、そして、もし好きだったら、これから、もうぜひコラボしたいとか、そういうアーティストがいたりしますか？
本当に正直なところを言うとあまり好きではないです。それはなぜかというとちょっとプレッシャーに感じるからです。なんか何をしたいのかがわからないと思うことがあって、コラボレーションをしたいと言われたときに相手が私に何を求めているのかがわからないと思って迷ったりするので、やっててすごく楽しいなと思う時もあるんですけど、結構断ったりもしてて、正直なところなんかすごく迷いながらやっています。だけど完成したものに関しては大体好きです。 とても。
Hi. To tell you the truth, as far as collaborations go, I don't really enjoy it all that much. I find it to be an immense pressure working with other artists, not because of anything they do specifically, but just because of my own sort of insecurities and not really knowing what we want to do together as a collaboration and necessarily what they want. And even though it can be very fun, I think that pressure sometimes is the main thing that comes to mind when considering a collaboration or even when working within a collaboration. So as a result, I refuse a lot of offers and requests to work together with other artists. That said, a lot of the completed projects that I've done, I'm really happy with how they've come out, but the experience has had some, those sort of pressure elements that keep me from more actively pursuing collaborations in the future.
I feel the same way about collaborating.
For sure.
私も同感ですね。
Mao and myself actually started working on an album about a year ago when I was in Tokyo, and it was a lot of fun to work together. And just as this past year has gone on, it's sort of been sort of sitting on the back burner, but I do hope to complete it someday soon. It is very cool and very scary, so please look forward to it.
そうですね。ジェームさんと一緒にコラボしてるみたいなんですけど、作成自体がすごく楽しくて、またいつか、最近はあんまり取り込んでないみたいなんですけど、また皆さんにぜひ紹介したいと思ってるので、これからもよろしくお願いします。
それは本当にすごく楽しくて、それはなんか新宿の街を2人でこうギターを持ちながら歩いて、雨が降る中、ギターを弾けそうな場所を探して、知らない人の家の駐車場でギターを弾いたりして、それを iPhone のボイスメモで撮ったりして、録音したりして、本当にすごくちょっとこう夢のような楽しい旅に感じたので、あの時はすごく楽しくて、で、ああいう実際にギターを弾きながらのコラボとかはすごく楽しいなと思ったので、そのアルバムは本当に嘘じゃなくて心から楽しくて、出来上がるのを楽しみにしています。
So, that collaboration is honestly one of the most fun things that I've done. It was just James and I kind of walking around Shinjuku in the rain, looking for places to play a guitar, and we wandered into somebody's parking lot, where we shouldn't have been, and the whole process was really like a dream journey. And that experience of just kind of playing the guitar, like impromptu, recording it into the memo app on our iPhones, was extremely fun. And without, there's no reason to lie about it. It was one of the most fun collaborations that I've done, and I really hope we can let people hear that sometime in the future.
Yeah, I think collaborating in real life, it makes a big difference than over the internet.
そうですね。やっぱり実際にコラボする、もう会ってコラボすることが、ネットを通してそのやり取りをするよりはもうすごく良くて、やっぱりいいものができると思います。
It was on that same trip that I had a chance to see you DJ at Forest Limit for the first time, and your DJing is insane. It's so fast and furious and loud and intense, and it seemed very different from your music in the past. Although your latest album, I think, has some of those DJ influences and elements in it. So I was just wondering, when did you start DJing, and how has that sort of informed your music now?
音楽の話で言いますと、フォレストルームでエマさんの DJ を聞くことができましたね。 そしてそのエマさんが DJ してる時にもうすごいもうマジで狂ったようなもう速さともういい意味のうるささ、もう音楽の圧力ともう本当にその情熱を込めて DJ をしてたんですけど、その感覚がエマさんの従来の音楽とやっぱりちょっと違った感じがしましたけど、最近の一番最新のアルバムにはそういう要素もちょっと入ってると思うんですけど、その DJ に関しては、いつ、始まったのとそしてその、DJ してる時の感覚とその音楽を作ってる時と、そしてそのどういうふうに影響し合ってるのかについてちょっと、教えてください。
はい。多分 DJ を始めたのは、正確には忘れちゃったんですけど、3年ぐらい前に誘ってもらって、で、始めたかなと思うんですけど、で、やってみたらすごい楽しくて、で、最初はあんまり分かってなかったんですけど、やっていったら、なんかすごく面白いことだと気づいていって、なんかその、1時間やるとしたら、1時間なり、こう、聞いている人を、こう、飽きさせないで、1時間の中で、こう、流れを作って、こう、だんだん夢中にさせていくっていう、なんかその、1時間他の人の曲を使って、作曲みたいなものだなと思って、そしたらすごいこう、やれることがいっぱいあるなと思って、で、やるたびに、どんどん次はこうしたいなとか、ちょっと今回はここがうまくいかなかったから、次はこうしようとか、いろいろ改善点とかが見つかって、今でもどんどんこうやっていきたいなと思ってるんですけど、で、やっぱりこう私はメロディーとかを作るのが好きなので、DJ だとどちらかというとメロディーを作るというよりは、こう他の人の曲のメロディー、もちろんメロディーとメロディーをこう重ねたりもするから、全然ないわけじゃないけど、基本的にはそんなに自分でメロディーを作るっていう感じではないので、やっぱりこう全然違うものはできるんですけど、やっぱり DJ でやってる時のこういう音、こういうビートが入ると、こういう風に気持ちに影響するのかとかどんどん気づけるようになったので、それをもうちょっと自分の曲に活かそうと思っていて、そういう意味で影響はし合っていて、すごくこうどっちもやっていきたいなと思っています。
So I'm not exactly sure when I started DJing, but probably about 3 years ago when I was asked to perform. And the first time I did it, it was really so fun, and I had no idea what I was doing at all, but it was just a really joyful experience. And I think the idea of playing for 1 hour or longer and keeping the listeners interested and kind of creating a narrative that they kind of follow along with was really exciting. And this idea of kind of winding the listeners up, like creating this tension that that the people who are listening are kind of waiting for. It felt like composition. It felt like making music, basically, like in the sense that you put together a song. And so after doing that several times and continuing to do that, I've just learned so many new things about DJing that I just want to try out. And there's so much I don't know that I just want to do more. And I think the big difference between the kind of music that I make or the music that I've made in the past and doing DJing is that especially it comes down to melody. I find that music melody is a sort of central part of it, but when DJing, there are times when you can layer melodies in different tracks on each other and have them kind of combine to create new melodies. But I think it has more to do with beats with a lot of the tracks that I'm using, and so that's a big difference. So in that sense, the melody aspect doesn't really apply to the DJing. However, how beats interact and how beats and transitions affect listeners and how that makes them feel, that's something that I've really wanted to bring into my music more. And so, in fact, the experience of DJing has really made me change the way I think about music and how I want to create music in the future.
I've noticed that your art and music contains many references to seafood. Is there any significance to seafood in your world?
山田の音楽と、漫画にはかなり、海のもの、もうシーフードとかめちゃめちゃ出てくるんですけど、それは何か特に、意味がありますか？
私はなんとなくシーフードが面白いと思っていて、なんかこう形とかちょっと面白いなって、タコの形、なんかこんな形、とかがちょっと不思議で面白いので、時々画像とかを見ると笑ってしまうことがあり、なんか面白いから描いています。
はい。Honestly, I think that a lot of seafood and like marine life is just really interesting. The shapes are always kind of funny. Like just how octopuses look, and so sometimes when I just see pictures of them, just kind of like National Geographic pictures, I'll just laugh out loud because of how weird it looks. So yeah, I think that's what inspires me to use those in my art.
I love the line sticker set that you've done. That's donuts and the squid, and they're just hanging out together. That's one of my favorite. I use that all the time on the Line app.
その LINE のステッカーでなんかドーナツがイカと遊んでるのがもうめちゃめちゃ好きでいつも使ってます。
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much.
I love the fish tube animation that you made.
ケビンはそのなんかかまぼこかな、なんか魚のチューブみたいな。
これか。チューブの中を魚が泳ぐ動画があって、私がそれのアニメーションを作ったことがあって、短いその動画を真似したアニメーションを作ったことがあって、多分それのことだと思うんですよ。
はいはいはい、なるほどね。Sure. So yeah, she made like an animation of like fish swimming through a tube. So yeah, very fun.
Do you have any plans for a more full-length manga in the future at all? Something along those lines?
これから長編漫画とかを書く予定はありますか？
あります。今書き始めていて、まだ1ページしか書けてないんですけど、本当に今取り掛かり出したところです。長い。一応まだわかんないけど100ページぐらいできたらいいなと思ってます。
はい。Yes, actually. In fact, I just started drawing a longer length manga. Although I'm only finished one page, the plan is to draw about 100 pages. And yeah, it's quite timely that you asked that.
Your output has been really prolific this year, and I just wondered if how you were able to stay inspired. I know personally it's been difficult to be inspired with the coronavirus and a lot of other things that have been going on in the world, and so I just wondered if how you were able to maintain that sort of inspiration to stay as prolific as you are.
今年はかなり、多くの作品はもう出したりしてるので結構、活動的なんですが、今年、いろんな世界にいろんなこともあって、コロナもそうだし、世界の政治状態もあるんですけど、どうやってずっとインスパイアされ続けてるのか、がかなり気になりますけど、なんかそういう秘訣とかありますか？
私は自転車に乗ってこう散歩 するのが、散歩をしないと曲も絵も描けないんですけど、自転車に乗っていろんなこう街を走ってると、いろんな建物があって、私建物がすごい好きなんですよ。で、なので、そのいろんな知らない建物を見て、そこからこの家はこういう家具が置いてあるのかなとか、ちょっと勝手に想像したりして、そういう、あとなんかこういう素敵な家に住みたいなとかっていうのを、なんかずっと考えてると、あと、このでかい知らない建物は何だろうとか思って、中で起こってることをこう勝手に想像したりとかするのが、インスパイアの元になってます。それがないと多分作れないです。
In my case, it's a practical matter of just keeping moving. I ride my bike around Tokyo and go on walks around Tokyo all the time. And I think if I didn't, cycle or walk around the city, I couldn't do any kind of art. It's really the necessary condition for what I do. So, walking around neighborhoods that I haven't been to and seeing new houses and buildings. I love architecture and looking at just buildings that I haven't seen before. And when I see something, new, I'll kind of stare at it and wonder, what kind of furniture they have inside and what kind of lives the people are leading and what kind of work the people are doing inside. And just those sort of imaginative exercises and kind of dreams about other lives are what keep me inspired. And yeah.
Makes me feel like I should be taking more walks.
僕ももうちょっと散歩した方がいいような気がします。
I think there's definitely something to be said about like the forward momentum of riding a bike and like an unrestricted flow of ideas, because I also feel that same way when I ride my cycle around Chicago.
私もシカゴを自転車で走ってる時にたくさんの詩的な刺激が次から次へとなんか前から後ろへ流れていく力がすごい、なんだろう、自分の脳の刺激にとってはかなり重要だと思います。私もよくシカゴのあたりをサイクリングしてる時にそう感じます。
いいな、行ってみたいです、シカゴ。
I'd like to go to Chicago someday.
Please do. You can stay with me anytime.
Or Philadelphia.
We will all host you.
Yes.
もうどこに行ってもホストしてもらいます。
America is not the best place to be right now, but hopefully someday you can come visit us and we can have fun together.
そう、残念ながら今アメリカはなかなか招待しづらいところなんですけど、でもいつか安全になったらぜひぜひ遊びに来てほしいです。
一緒に旅しましょ
う。はい。Let's go traveling together.
Canada's pretty safe right now. Maybe everybody can just meet here and quarantine for 2 to 3 weeks.
カナダはまあまあ比較的に安全なので、みんなもうカナダで集合しましょう。
So we're about out of time. I just wanted to thank emamouse and Josh so much for joining us this evening for them and this morning for us. It's such a privilege to have you with us, emamouse. Thank you so much for joining the stream. I would just like to end by just asking if there's anything that you wanted to say about your most recent release, which is the 3 little crow's feet is the title of the album. Is there anything that you wanted to tell our audience about your latest album? And is there anything coming up that you would like to promote?
もうそろそろ時間なので、本当にエマさん時間を分けてくれて本当に、ありがとうございました。貴重な話をたくさん聞くことができて大変嬉しいです。最後に最近の最新のアルバムについてちょっと一言言ってくれ一言ちょっと教えてほしいです。どういうようなものなのか、もし聞いたことのない人が見てる人が の中にいるんでしたらちょっと紹介してください。そして、これからの活動について、例えば新しいアルバムとか漫画がもし出るんやったらそれも紹介してください。
はい、こちらこそありがとうございました。今日はすごく楽しかったです。
Thanks a lot, guys.
で、新しいアルバムは、一応なんかタイトルが全部絵文字みたいな記号なんですけど、まあ、私が、あんまり日本よりも、日本以外の方が多分聞いてもらえてたりするので、なんか、英語にするのも、日本語にするのも、なんかちょっと違うような気もずっとしてて、タイトルを。それで、なんか、絵文字だったらまあみんな読めるし、時々、文字化けはするかもしれないけど、まあ、まあ、それでいいやっていう感じで、まあ読み方とかは特に決めてないんですけど、そんな感じで、で、一応は自分の中では、絵文字のタイトルの、アルバムのタイトルが、まあ、木のマークのつもりなんですね。
木のマークですね。
はい。一応木のつもりで、で、なんか、本当は大きい、セコイアの木。
ほう。
そう、大きいセコイアの木をなんとなくぼやっと浮かべて、それがありそうな景色の中で流れる曲みたいなことをなんとなく意識して作っています。なので、まあ、一応はタイトルの中にその木に見えるような絵文字が入ってるものがいくつか多分あって、で、それはなんかそのでっかい大きい木があって、そこの周りでなんか人がいたりいなかったりみたいな感じのことを、思って作りました。
なるほど。
はい。で、なんだっけ、アルバムはそんな感じで、まあよかったら聴いてください。で、
はい。
なんだったかな。あとは、あれか。
まあこれからの、作品。じゃあまずちょっと、アルバムについてちょっと訳しましょう。
はい。
So, about the new album, it's the title is unpronounceable at least. It's 3, emoji, and the reason I did that was I think probably more than Japan. A lot of my listeners are outside of Japan, but at the same time, like making the title an English title didn't feel right, and also making a Japanese title just didn't feel right. So. Yeah, having the emoji as a kind of a symbol of the sound of the album just felt like it would work really well. Although some people, depending on where the device that they're viewing it on, might get the moji bucket, might get the not be able to see the characters properly. But hey, that's cool too. There's no real way to read it, so I can't really say what the title is. But in my mind, the emoji that I've used are the tree marks, not the crow's feet, apparently. And they're actually of sequoia trees. And yeah, so this idea of having like trees standing, this kind of scenery of trees standing, and the songs that you might hear, the sounds that you might hear, in that region. And having this big tree where people are sort of gathered around and like together was kind of the inspiration for that title. And so if you haven't listened to the album, I really hope you check it out. And please enjoy. And じゃあ次の作品に関して。
はい。次に作りたいアルバムはもう決まっていて、それはさっき音楽にマウやドーナツは出てくるかという話をしてたと思うんですけど、次のテーマはこのマウが、こんな顔で実際に演奏しているなんかちょっとボサノバとかそういうノリに近い、ボサノバではないかもしれないけど、なんかああいうマウが演奏しているなんていうの、ちょっといい感じの音楽みたいのを作りたいなと思って、今までの感じとはちょっと違う、本当に演奏してやってみようかなとちょっと思ってるんですけど、うまくいけばいいなと思っています。今年中ぐらいには出せたらいいなと思ってて。 音楽はそんな感じです。で、
はい
漫画はさっき言ってた、今新しく書いてるのが、マウが動物の街に行くっていう漫画を書こうとしてて、
ほうほう
まあ、そんな感じです。
ほう動物の街ですね。
そうそうそうそう。
はい。はいはいはい。動物の森みたいな感じですかね。
動物の森。はい。
あ、動物の森か。
違います。
もしかしたらそうかな。
いや、僕も勝手の想像なんですけど。
あんなにほのぼのはしてないです。あんなに可愛くはない。
なるほどね。そこまでほのぼのじゃないですね。
そうそうそうそう。
了解です。
はい。
So the next album that I'm working on is actually in the works now. And even though I said that my music and manga are kind of separate, at least in the creative process, the next album is going to be a Mao album. And the theme is it's basically going to have Mao performing bossa nova songs.
Yes.
And
Sweet.
you know, just make some sweet tracks that way. And hopefully that'll be out this year. So keep keep your eye out for that. As for manga, as I mentioned, I'm starting to work on something a little longer now, and the main theme of it is Mao in the Animal Town. And
Animal
Josh,
Crossing. Yeah.
Josh, I asked if it was from like Animal Crossing or Dobutsu no Mori, and the response was that no, it's not that calm or like cute. It's going to be a little bit darker, maybe. So.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. Huge
本当に来て
privilege.
くれて
It's been
あり
great.
がとうございました。
Thank you so much too. Very fun.
Yes. And I cannot wait to come back to Tokyo and hang out again.
Yes, I'm waiting.
Oh.
Oh,
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
あ
Thank
りが
you
とう
very
ござい
much.
ました。
have a good evening. Thank you so much.
では、
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone, we are back. So, I think I was actually muted there, but yes, we are back indeed. Yeah, that was emamouse, the
That was
one,
great.
the only, the legend. Thank you so much again. They are such a huge inspiration, I think, to a lot of people, which I was seeing in the chat, which was pretty cool. I don't know, there's just certain artists that I've always really looked up to, just like certain people that just seem to just being creative is just their natural state of being, and I feel like emamouse is definitely one of those people. As
Absolutely.
possibly the person behind this beautiful fan art here too. Clearly showcasing a lot of creativity there. Sorry, I had that up during the interview. Let me just
Just staring at it during the interview.
yeah. And it was also that moment that we talked about in the interview at Higari no Lounge, or Higari no Lounge. Higari no Lounge. That was the name of the place. In Okazaki. That was our first show on the first Neo Gaia Phantasy tour, and it was my first time coming back to Japan since the very first time I had gone earlier that year, and it was cool because it was a small show. It was kind of in a weird spot in this room, just like filled with smoke.
They did not stop the fogger all night. It was just like blasting.
It was.
Wait, was that the place in Okazaki?
Yeah. So that's where there was.
I
the
could
elements.
barely see you across the table from me.
That place was insane.
That was a fun show.
Your breath was agitating the smoke. It was not good.
Seeing that emamouse drawing on the wall though, it was like holy shit, like we are definitely in Japan, like emamouse was here, look. That's why I was talking about how we were just kind of like, whoa, I can't believe it, because it's like an emamouse original and it's in front of us because we are in their zone, in their place. It was really, really cool.
My friend Joe Bastardo, aka Bastion Void, who runs Moss Archive, is in the chat, and I went to Japan for the very first time in 2017 with Joe, and he's also identifying Forest Limit as a smoke dungeon. But that's like cigarette smoke from like individual people. So like the Hikaruno Lounge was like they had a fog machine going on like the entire night, and there were people smoking cigarettes as well. So it was just like
Yeah. But Forest Limit has this massive contraption like on the ceiling that just absorbs all the smoke from everyone's constant. Actually, at the last show, they at our request they banned smoking for us.
Well, you had to because you had that crazy migraine and you missed a show from the night before when we played Kobe. So yeah, that was a group request to and they have done that for artists in the past, so I didn't really feel like bad.
Okay, it was really nice of them to do that.
But yeah, they obliged and did outdoor smoking only that night, which was really kind of them.
Yeah, really nice.
I was able to get. Let me see if I can pull these up here. Really cool pictures of Mark and Tech at that Okazaki show.
Breathing in carcinogenic. Yeah. Actually, it reminded me of playing laser tag.
Yeah,
it was
like
same
that,
same vibe.
I got, just for the record, I got nothing against smokers. Smoke them if you got them. I smoked for like 7 or 8 years, so it's just.
I have a lot against smokers.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that was Tech checking out Instagram.
That was me just enjoying the sights and sounds of Japan.
There's a cool picture of Mark.
Yeah, we look sick, man. Honestly, like. We look like we've been breathing in stuff for hours.
And one of my favorite pictures was this one of Tech in front of the place.
This is a hallucination after breathing in smoke all day.
Farplane hit the nail on the head. It looks like a Tim Hecker show for sure.
Yeah, we were going to try to get a picture of Tech doing this with a real deer, but he was unable to join us in Nara, remember? And it was my big creative fantasy to have a 2-panel image
juxtaposition.
Yeah, one of Tech feeding the stuffed deer, and then one of Tech feeding the actual deer. What was the there was going to be a caption like
all your dreams versus the genuine
true.
Artifact.
Oh yeah, may all your dreams come true or something like that.
I don't know. But yeah, this is as close as we could get.
I did. I swear I hunted that myself.
Yes, Tech is a well-known hunter. It's one of his many skills is hunting,
just killing,
just in general.
When he's not hunting, he's playing Cabela's Big Game Hunter 2019 for PlayStation 4. He's got the rifle,
the arcade tab.
Light gun, he's got the...
Really into that.
Anytime we go out to the bars to drink Budweiser, Tech always puts about $50 in the Cabela's light gun cabinet.
That's true. When in Rome.
Yeah, so I mean that first tour, I was still a cigarette smoker. I've since switched to vaping because I just got tired of the tar and the smell and washing my hands and being a social pariah and having to excuse myself all the time and having it all in my clothes. So
I've never been more proud of you.
Well, I mean, I still vape, so I'm still intaking nicotine, which is not good.
Nicotine's good for you.
Well. Yeah, but I just saw this. I just saw this pic that was right next to that one when we were on the train the next day of me smoking on the Shinkansen.
Wow.
Definitely, if you're a smoker, it was a really... I don't know how much longer you're going to be able to do stuff like this in Japan, because
rare opportunity.
They're catching up to where sort of America was about 5 to 10 years ago, where cigarette smoking is becoming less tolerated, especially in public spaces. But yeah, being on a train going like fucking 300 miles per hour or whatever, like ripping through the Japanese countryside, and then you can go inside of this little tiny sort of like coincidentally enough coffin-like room. You can squeeze in with about 2 other people, and you can stand there and smoke a cigarette, just smelling just the awful staleness of cigarette smoke. So if you don't smoke, don't start. It's not good.
I agree. most areas of Tokyo are it's illegal to smoke on the street, and you actually have to go indoors into like this little like smoker's closet to like puff a cigarette if you're like, you know, in a like a downtown zone.
People seem to smoke in the parking lots behind vending machines. That seems to be like a loophole or something. Like
Well, the vending machines have like a receptacle for cigarette butts, and like those, they'll have like little dotted off zones where it's like you're allowed to smoke. That's away from like a major street or whatever. But yeah,
Okay.
it's really weird when you go to like a restaurant and you're like eating this like delicious, perfect food, like fancy food, and then you just like see smoke like waft over the food, and then you like look over and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe that there's still like indoor smoking.
It's like the 90s, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Well, I just found that picture of me and Tech and our old band hanging out in Skyline Chili in Dayton, Ohio, and that was from 2007 or something. And there was an ashtray on the table, like it, and that was
That was the smoking section.
yeah, like we used to eat Skyline and then sit indoors and smoke cigarettes and just.
It's kind of like if you've been in like a hotel in Japan that was a smoking room, even in the last 2 years, it's like you can barely sleep or you're wheezing by the time you wake up. Like,
During that era, I've never smoked a cigarette in my entire life, but I was vehemently against the smoking ban. Because I was like...
we were little libertarians back then.
Yeah, I was like a libertarian douchebag back then. I was like, no, you should be allowed to smoke wherever you want.
wow.
Leave it up to the business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we got over
Let the
that.
free market play it out.
Oh yeah, Joe's got it right.
Thank you, Eugenio.
Eugenio,
Battaglia,
thank you so much
for that 420. Just blaze it in spite of Tech.
What's the nicotine number? Is there a number for nicotine? Is it 69? Yeah.
I think, that's the nicotine number.
Okay.
That's why everybody always says 69.
Oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
Nice. Tech's favorite number next to 420.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tech is
I
really
just
good
love
at it.
those number jokes. Those are my favorites. Well, they get funnier each time. That's why I like them so much. Like, the more you do it, it's funnier.
What's the relevance of 6:16 p.m. in the corner there?
Oh, so that was just the
Oh.
time that I put all this together, and I was thinking about, like screen capturing like a clock running for 2 hours. Then I was like, like this is kind of close to 666, and that's fine. We'll just
You should have made it
your metric.
You should have made it 7:06.
I know.
Your idea being that it would have been the
But
stupidest.
I wasn't trying to do that though, because that's kind of lame
Yeah.
too, So it
You
was
should have
just
made it like 25:45.
No, making it 7:06 would have been way lamer.
Any number that's
Six-
not 666 is pretty good.
Six-
Just thinking, it's close enough to the number.
616
Of all
is
the-
cool. It's a palindrome.
That's true.
All right. Okay.
Of all the joke numbers, 666 is I guess that's my favorite. It's the least obnoxious to me.
Mm-hmm.
But the other ones can just fuck off.
31 o'clock.
So this is actually DDS fan art.
Oh my
A sort of reimagining of me over here, and this is obviously Tech.
Oh my
In our
god.
younger days. Yeah.
I like to think that you have all these pictures just saved to your hard drive. Like, I like to think that you're not pulling them up.
No,
and-
I do have a couple Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit tabs always ready to go, just in case we need some content, just right out of the gate. So hopefully that repetition isn't getting on your nerves, Tech. But man, oh man, I just cannot get enough of this Hobbit stuff. And
Jesus,
This is
with the icanhascheeseburger.com link in the bottom left.
that just makes
Christ.
it even better.
You gotta. This is anachronistic. You should have had the animation, the Lord of the Rings animation up, because that's what people would have been watching with this OS, right? In the 90s.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
It's just not as funny. Sorry, it's not as funny. It's like all the weird dwarf.
Well, and so
Characters.
like the Lord of the Rings movies. I mean, those are actually legit. I mean, besides some of the Gimli shit, it's really not that bad. And in fact, they're actually pretty amazing films, especially all the practical effects that were in them, and like those massive miniatures that they built. They called bigatures because they were like the size of a soundstage, but it's like Minas Tirith, that like microscopic detail levels, because they spent years and years prepping for those movies. But of course, with The Hobbit, they only had a couple months, and Peter Jackson didn't want to do it, but just did because they weren't going to get made if he didn't do it, basically. And they were just like, yeah, we'll just make everything CGI, that's fine. And it's great, too, when you watch the bonus features, and you're just counting all the missteps, and they're trying to justify everything, and at one point, it's like the saddest thing, Peter Jackson just being like, yeah, one of the great things about CGI over a practical model is that it allows me as a director to take a camera wherever I want to go with it. It's like, that's exactly what the problem is, because we play video games and we're familiar with what is CGI and what is real life. And
wait, James, if Peter Jackson announced that he was making The Hobbit 2 and it was a trilogy, that was just a new The Hobbit with like a new plot, new characters. Would you watch all three of them?
Yeah. Obviously,
you would watch all the bonus features first.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the bonus features
Hobbit,
are the most.
The after years.
The bonus features are, as I've said again and again and again on the stream, the bonus features are the best part. I would love to do commentary on top of the bonus features of The Hobbit.
The Hobbit Crisis Core.
Basically.
Release it on DVD.
Before Crisis.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
Crisis.
and it is kind of derivative. I know
Hobbit
fans of the On Cinema at the Cinema Tim Heidecker series know that, especially in those Oscar specials, the cheapest laughs that they get are on the screen behind them. They just pull up pictures of the Hobbits from the Peter Jackson movies because their design is so poor that they instantly just make you just like, what were they thinking? It doesn't matter. Like, when I'm setting up this stream, the first thing I do is I open Google and just type The Hobbit dwarves. And no matter which picture I choose, it's guaranteed to get some laugh. So all grace to the On Cinema team for coming up with that device. But we're in Hobbit mode, so we got lots to say. We're Hobbit heads, we're Hobbit freaks, and that's just what we're gonna default back to. But
yeah, either Hobbits or ska. That's the kind of content we create here.
Oh, God.
Well,
or Final Fantasy spin-offs.
The ska, that's all you. That's just not anything I'm interested in.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, hey, it's tied to your reputation now.
Yeah.
I can't undo last week. We talked about we looked at ska imagery for hours.
Mark sent us a link to a band called Menage a Ska. Is that?
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna pull that up. Let's watch
another...
watch that. I don't think we'll get dinged for copyright for
I
playing
found
that.
some Hobbit ska as well. I just posted a link.
Oh Jesus!
We're gonna tank the 100p channel with this. Don't let this be the reason that George gets flagged.
Yeah, is this a flaggable link here? Are we gonna get?
I don't know.
Does UMG distribute?
No, it's like a live performance.
No, this isn't live.
No.
Oh my god. No.
Oh my god, it's the Misty Mountain song.
Are you playing it? I can't hear it.
I gotta stop it. That's copywritten. But
For sure.
Holy hell. Wow, that is really unfortunate. But what isn't copywritten, can you send me the Menage a Ska link real quick, Mark, so we can share that with our viewers here?
When
yes, the Scobbit. Very good, said Weeb. That would have been a better move for them, I think.
That's a missed opportunity right there, and a window, I think, for a new creator to step in and make some new content.
Creator. Using the term as loosely as imaginable.
Ska creator.
Here's the link that you asked me to send you again.
No, and I did. Yeah, I think it's important that we take our interests and we merge them. That's one of the things.
I think we need to take a long, hard look at what the the result of those two interests combined is.
Well, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and astrology earlier, so yeah, I would say that maybe a little bit of self-reflection would do us good.
And you know,
It's a variety show.
folks, that's really what the show is all about. You know, we like to turn the webcam inward and take a good hard look at
Content creator.
at these kind of situations here. So when I go into this mode, Kevin, Mark, Tech, you won't be able to hear me. The folks at home will, and they'll be able to hear this content. So
I'm just gonna stand 6 feet away from the computer.
that's cool too. So we're all just gonna take a moment to listen to this together, and then we're gonna come back at the end, and we're all gonna share our thoughts about how this went down. Exactly. So let me just change this here.
We had vote amongst the band. Yep. The song almost used to be rum and Chinese.
However,
It might be New Zealand here. Maybe some Hobbit
We call
heads.
it beer and curry. And just give me 1 second, don't start yet. I have to put this glass down long before we start the song.
I'll run out of drink. So,
Alright.
do I get it?
Because this is like, I don't get a chance to breathe in this song, let alone take a drink, so. Alright.
I'll try.
Make it loud noise. Beer and curry. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and pause this real quick. There's one part that I really, really love, though, when there's a drum solo and the front man is playing the bongos. And, but he gets off time, and so the drummer just stops playing and kind of gets in like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Which is fun for anyone who's ever been in a band, to have those sort of moments where it all just kind of falls to pieces, but you're still like super into it because you think you're doing a good job. So let me see if we can. It's right after this guitar solo here. Alright, that is enough.
I feel like maybe this is mean.
Yeah,
But-
no, this is definitely mean-spirited.
It's mean, but it's mean-spirited. But you know, sometimes people deserve it.
Boy, that is good.
I didn't actually
Good-natured
watch.
ribbing, that's all.
I didn't watch the video that far, and
Yeah,
that was incredible.
It's a good-natured ribbing.
Look,
You know,
I was in a band. James and I were in a band for so long. We dealt with so much shit and so many bad bands and so many bad performances of our own. I feel entitled to make fun of other people's performances sometimes.
I'm sorry, but there's no excuse for that. And you know, it's like Mystery Science Theater 3000. There's this amazing episode about time travel. I can't think of the name right now, but it was like an independent film made by all these like kind of unattractive people from Vermont. And I guess the independents that had made this film in like the 90s sent it. They were big MST3K fans, and they sent it in, and so they did it. They made an episode out of it, and I guess that the people that had made the movie had like a party to like for the premiere of the MST3K episode, but they just like completely savaged them like very personally about like
Oh my god.
like
Why would they do that?
about like the guys like
why would
his
they send
receding
in?
hairline, you know, and like the other dude's kind of dumpy, you know, and it was the 90s, so
That's
it was
terrible.
TPK, but it's great though.
But what were they thinking?
Exactly.
Sending it to be roofed on. Yeah.
That's the point that Mike Nelson made in the sort of pre-roll. Is just like I don't know what they thought we were gonna do, but I mean it's a really really bad movie, so we just kind of shredded it. But there are a bunch of great Vermont jokes. That's the big takeaway from that episode. It's they're always like Vermont, city on the go, and stuff like that. Oh, what is the name of that one? Time. Anyone in the chat? Any MST3K fans? I'm gonna find it real quick on the browser. MST3K.
Wilson is a cop.
Time Chasers? Yeah, Time Chasers. Yeah, Time Chasers.
It's a really bad movie.
I doubt he's still in the chat, but I think George is like somewhat of a Mystery Science Theater fan.
Yeah, I was a huge Mystery Science Theater nerd. I've seen literally every episode about 50,000 times. I used to have those DVD box sets, and when I was in my my early 20s, I would play Final Fantasy 11, and I'd have like a CRT TV on like a IKEA cart on the other side of the room, like where my little like futon was or whatever. And I used to keep a mirror on my desk and like watch DVDs.
Oh, I remember that.
While I like grinded.
You could probably make a living streaming that now.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's weird though, because I learned a lot of the things that I watched backwards. So like I used to watch the Tom Goes to the Mayor DVDs, and I always thought the door was on like the right side of the room because I always used to watch it in a mirror. So kind of weird. Yeah, this is a good situation.
Is this what is?
Yeah, this guy, they always make fun of his hockey hair. They're like, hockey hair, please.
We aren't going to get content flagged for that.
No. We're not playing the
Okay.
audio, and this is, and hey, share the tapes. You know, they were always down with people.
Right.
passing
I
along.
remember like my favorite local comic shop where I grew up in Bloomington, Illinois, was in downtown Normal near the ISU campus, and they had a little TV in the corner, like in the upper right-hand corner of the room, and they were always playing Mystery Science Theater 3000, and I didn't like understand it at first, and then eventually, as I got older, I got what they were doing.
Yeah, when I was real little, like in elementary school, that's when it was like first on TV, and my dad really liked it, and it was always on like Sundays, and I remember when he would be channel surfing and he'd like find it, I would get so excited because it was like 2 hours of like hanging out with these people while they made fun of bad movies, which was like, and I never got any of the references, like especially those old ones. There are like tons and tons of references to like people from like the 1950s and 60s that, you know, were just still like a part of the like the popular consciousness in the late 90s, you know what I mean? Oh, we just got a thank you, Molo.
Molo!
Hey, thank you, Molo.
Thank you so much for the
Thanks.
donation.
Really appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
I'd also like to point out
It's a great gift.
the neogaia.tv is always live, and there are donation rankings on there. So if you want to keep giving us money, you might be able to see yourself on the stream as a big hero. Here, let's see if I can go to neogaia.tv. Let's get a list of these heroes. Oh, nice. Yeah, so Molo is the monthly leader with $35. Thank you so much.
Wow.
And then B just coming out of nowhere on the stream. Thank you so much, B.
It all goes into translator Josh's pocket, so you're paying for these.
Well
You're
earned.
paying
though.
for these cool interviews. Yeah.
Josh is so incredible because, like, I mean, that one we didn't really even give him the questions ahead of time. Like, he just kind of
Right.
jumped in, and we were coming up with a lot of this stuff on the fly. And emamouse was giving these really in-depth answers, and Josh was just like total pro, didn't miss a beat. At one point, the only point that he seemed confused, he was like, "There's something about like a fish." Going in tubes or something like yeah. That's when I decided we needed a little media browser. It's like this is going to be difficult to. Oh my god! Look at this piece of art here. Holy cow! Oh, we got another donation.
Oh,
from that's not me.
Hey,
James.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, James.
The beast,
That's the right
number.
funny number.
The nicotine beast.
This.
Yes.
Oh, we're rolling now, Liam.
Is that
thank
photo
you so
Photoshop?
much.
Liam.
Oh my god!
Thank you so much.
And
All these
amazing.
cute gifts were made by Sega Octopus too. So thank you so much, Sega Octopus.
Yeah, who is other James? That's a great question. It's like Lester from The Simpsons. Yeah, here we have. So this is my back tattoo idea.
Wolfram Alpha.
That would make a good iPhone background.
Oh god.
It's got the time would look really great right up there by
Could be
Legolas
today.
or whatever.
JRR smoking.
Oh, this doesn't share my my user interface on my actual computer, but I am thinking about setting this as my wallpaper right now. So,
Just add. Can you Photoshop 420 in Papyrus on there, and then it's complete.
here, maybe I can do it like this. So this is going to be new. This is an experiment here. If I drop this in real time, then I'm gonna just drag this down here, and then I should be able to. Yeah, so now that's on the desktop. Can't really drag it around much, but it's there.
Just try right clicking. Oh wait.
Here we go.
Remember when
So that
you-
we can be comfortable
Wow.
with that's behind us now.
That's nice.
That makes me feel pretty good.
When you had this actual OS, James, were people giving you a hard time for Macs not having a right click button? Was that like one of
Jesus Christ. It's funny you mentioned that, Mark.
That was the best argument ever for a while.
that? It seemed like it was just everyone brought it up all the time for some reason.
So
Like, you
Mac-
can't
at
right
least I can
click.
right click.
Mac OS 8 introduced contextual menus via right-clicking or control-clicking, which is what most people did. But at least our operating system wasn't made by an Epstein pedophile. So, I'd rather use an OS that was built for one mouse button than using some cheap knockoff made by some greasy little pervert who reverse engineered it with stolen technology. So
that's what.
right click all you want in your Windows 95, whatever you want to do.
That's the new argument, yeah.
It's great, because for so many years there, when I used Reddit in my 20s before graduating to Twitter, I guess. God, there was this period of time where everyone was
What a statement.
everyone was so just like all about Bill Gates and wouldn't shut up about how awesome he was. And I was just like, it was like, it's like, yeah, he gave a lot of money to really great causes, but does that really erase like what a piece of shit he is? God, it was really frustrating. So it's great that he's finally had his comeuppance. So yeah, check, that is my new line. But enough about that. Let's get positive again on the stream here.
Let's talk about the playlist.
That's a
We got
great
about
idea.
5 minutes left, so
Yeah.
Oh wow.
good way to wrap up the ep.
Once you like that.
Can you send me a link to that real quick in the chat?
Yeah, I'm doing it right. Hey, doing it right now.
Do it faster.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, far plane, that's a great point. It's not really graduating to Twitter. It's just more like, I don't know, at a certain age, you're like typing a Reddit comment and you're like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, what? Like, why am I leaving a comment on this thread? What is the good any of this, you know, like these
I
people
kind of feel
won't
like that
shut up.
just typing anything into the internet now, even looking things up for myself. I'm like, why?
Well, I think the funniest one to me right now is whenever Anthony Fantano does like a let's argue thread. He's like, tell me your most controversial opinion or something, and there's like 4,700 comments or replies, and I just always think like, when there's like 2,800 replies, who is going, I gotta leave a reply on this.
How about like 15 replies? That's enough for me.
Yeah. No, well, yeah, I guess it's so weird. I just don't get it, but whatever.
It's like a mob mentality or something.
Yeah. It's like, surely he'll read this. I know there's 3,000 other ones to look at, but
Something to say.
yeah.
They have views to share.
Oh no! You know what I just realized?
What?
Oh no, never mind. I better not say anything. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about the playlist real quick.
That's a good cliffhanger right there.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Well,
Now we're all going to be tense and
Yeah,
worried.
I have to
for
do
the
something
remaining
real
5
quick.
minutes.
You go ahead and do that while I cook something up.
Okay, Mark, talk about your picks.
Oh yeah, my picks. Yeah, actually, I put some. I remember what I put on there. I remember what I put on there. I put an Eevee track on there that I don't know if people are familiar with Eevee, but she's synonymous for me with like lo-fi beats, like yes, and the Pokemon, but the artist Eevee. Just think about her work, and I think about discovering her lo-fi
Are these the
beats
type
back
of
then.
beats that you could chill and or study to?
You could also relax to them. Yeah. But this track in particular, she samples Legend of Korra OST, which isn't on Spotify. I probably would have just put that on there, the Legend of Korra OST, which is an amazing score. I also put a track by Otoi Toi on there, which is an artist who I think either started or co-founded or works closely with Gentle Records, which is a label based in Australia that put out a beat tape of mine many years ago, and they seem like really great guys. And the last track I did was an artist named Yu Su, and she's an incredible sort of avant-garde electronic artist, and I got sort of into her work when she did a very immersive performance here in Vancouver with like an octophonic sound system, and like everybody like sat in a circle, and she was like, we just sat in a circle like staring at people, like she wasn't even in the middle. There was just empty space in the middle, and she was hidden away somewhere in the building, and there was 8 speakers around us, and it was this just totally aurally mind expanding experience. And it was, yeah, I highly recommend listening to her stuff. Anyways, that's my contributions.
Nice.
So yeah, I got what I needed to get done here. So let me see, what were my? Oh yeah, I put an emamouse track on there, of course. Portable Cavity from the iCavity album that came out last year. That was super awesome. The Clara Schumann piece. Clara Schumann, an excellent composer in her own right, of course. This particular one, it's got some nice, beautiful chords. That's what it's all about. There's some minor fours slipped in there when you least suspect them, and it all just really kind of brings it home. And then finally is this lamp track, which is the word symphony written in Japanese, from the album Yume, which is just one of the just greatest, like, first 20 seconds of an album ever. It's huge, it's beautiful, every single chord is more passionate and emotive than the next, before it just becomes this sort of epic, winding, labyrinthine sort of pop maze for like almost 7 minutes. So great first track if you've never listened to Lamp before. They are one of the best, and those are my picks.
Lamp rules.
I picked a Guided by Voices song, "The Best of Jill Hives," because I got really into Guided by Voices this week, and I picked a song by Peach and Plum, which is me, because I listened to my own album today. Real
Get
sad.
that paper, boy.
Yeah. So every time you play that, I get just
$1.
I get.
I've got
super
both of you
funded.
on my like Spotify like friends list on the side, and you guys listen to a lot of your own music.
I almost exclusively listen to my own music. In fact,
my Spotify is mostly used for the stream, to be fair. All right, and it is
Sure.
stuff.
I genuinely mostly listen to my own music to the point that I picked a Perfume Genius song because I just
You
thought about
basically
it.
wrote it.
But no, because I didn't play anything else this week except for Guided by Voices once, and then my own music. So I just had to find something else to put on there, and I picked Perfume Genius.
I mean, if you're gonna listen to your own music and you have the option of listening to like, you know, Rough Demo 1, The Real Deal .wave, or giving yourself, you know, 0.004 of a cent, then you might as well get the money. That's how I feel.
I just feel like the whole reason I feel like I make music is because it's what I just want to make what I want to hear, because other people aren't doing it right.
Well, I think we'll have. Kevin, did you go? I'm sorry, I was so busy doing the thing.
No, I'll make it quick. I did Blush. It's a Mo Shop remix, and they dropped it on their Wave Pool set on Sunday, and I had never heard that tune for some reason, but I'm a huge Mo Shop fan, and I've just been rinsing that song and dancing in my room to it. There's a 2006 Prince song from the album 3121. I got into that one in high school, kind of when I was like exploring Prince's catalog, and that was like the latest album at the time. And that song is just incredibly sexy. It's a nice kind of dirty dance number. Can't go wrong with Prince at all. And Carly Rae Jepsen, Want You in My Room. It's from like her 2018 she dropped that record. But yeah, that's just an incredibly poppy kind of 80s fun pop banger.
Awesome. So if someone could drop the link to the playlist in the chat, don't miss the new Gaia.
Already did, but I'll do it again.
Yeah, this is our playlist. We change it every week, and songs stay on for what, a month, right, Tech?
Yeah.
Before they get nuked off. So please listen to what we're listening to, because it's a lot of fun. All right, well, I think that's a good place to stop for tonight. As Crystal
I've got a show to promote real quick before we go off. It's the Rosewood fundraiser for Yemen, and it's on July 25th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. There's a bunch of familiar scene friends and members of the Equipped Picks fan club Patreon that are putting it on, and it's going to be awesome. We got Ognos, Vapor Waveshine, Dan Soko, Luxury, Young Shiro, Groovy Kaiju, visuals from DS Dude, Q, Chief Leaf, A. Greg, and it's on DS Dude's Twitch channel. So don't miss it. It's July 25th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'll be there hanging out in the chat for a little bit.
Awesome.
Sick.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you, emamouse, so much for giving us that incredible in-depth interview. I mean, we got some in-depth emamouse lore in there, which I think has never been heard before. So I think that's really exciting and really cool. Thank you everyone who tuned in, and really look forward to seeing you next week. And with that, I will go ahead and... Oops.